How I turned one luxury SUV into a $15,000 a month business without even owning the truck. All right, guys, let's dive into this. My first month, I made just over 15K, $15,070 with one SUV, and I didn't even own it. And the reason I'm making this case study, well, one of the reasons is I want you guys to see that you don't necessarily need to own a truck to get into this business. Most of that income didn't come from Uber or Lyft, it came from who I was driving, and I started from zero by renting a truck. So, if you think this is a driving job, that's exactly why most people never make real money doing it. It's not about driving, really. It's about positioning yourself where high paying jobs and clients already are and understanding how this business actually works behind the scenes. So within weeks, I was doing private airport pickups, and not just Miami Airport or Fort Lauderdale. I was doing Palm Beach private airport, Boca Raton private terminals, high level clients. I've driven an NFL player from the Jaguars. He tipped me better than many people make in a day. I've been a part of a 3 Escalade run with a police escort to a game, which you can see on my Instagram. And between us, I'll tell you, it was the Beckhams, Victoria Beckham, the kids, and we took them to a game, escorted. It's fun doing these. That was my first one, though. Um, my truck, my truck ended up in a music video that a streamer took me to. I did a police escorted ride with just me driving an F1 pilot during Miami Grand Prix. That was just now, so I'm recording it. This is Arvid, the youngest F1 pilot ever, I think. But this, to be honest, was just last week, so I'm recording this a couple months into my spiel, okay? But continuing this is my first month, okay? You see me here by the private jet. That was a first gig, picking up from a private airport. That was fun. I'll go back for a second. You see the state trooper that's doing the Beckhams. Then the music video screenshot. You can find snippets of it on my YouTube. No.
Fofos, I'm tipping. Wood grain, I'm gripping. Catch me lying, switching with the paint dripping. Turn your neck and your name missing.
So yeah, I didn't want to talk over those. That was for an influencer pickup. But here's where most people stay stuck. Okay, they rely on apps. And getting into this, I wanted to figure this out. I've heard that people make really good money, some don't, and Uber Black, Lyft Black, or Black SUV, you don't want to be relying on those because you grind all day and you hit a ceiling basically. You hit a ceiling of $250, $300, maybe $400 a day. And, then they actually make you take a break. You can see a screenshot here. It says, hey, you've been driving for a while, so you can't go online for a few hours. That's not cool to receive it. Like they don't know if you're tired, but they assume you are. And usually this break, you can't turn the app back on for like 6 hours. Okay? And the problem isn't just the money. It's that you're not building anything. You're not building relationships, no private, no repeat clients. You have no leverage. You're basically working, but you're not progressing. So what changed everything for me is I stopped thinking like a driver. And I started thinking about access. Where do high paying clients and hourly gigs actually come from? That was my natural question that came repeatedly back into my mind. How do these jobs really get filled? And how do you position yourself so you're not waiting for rides but getting requested directly? So let's look at the screenshots from income as we should. You can. I'm not going to dive into these. You can just pause this. These screenshots is what makes up for most of the first month, but there was also a lot of cash. Okay. So let's actually look at how that first month came together. and while I still remember. So week one, mostly it was Lyft app, some direct requests via one source, right? And getting familiar with the flow. So the owner of the car started hooking me up with a couple of direct orders. This is going to be in reverse because in my notes I made it so I wouldn't have to scroll down every time. The first order and for every month, and also in this first month, what you're going to see is at the bottom. So Friday, February 27th is what I started. Tips $1. I remember I turned the app on and I didn't have Lyft Black, which is quite easy to set up rather than Uber Black and Black SUV. I didn't have it turned on yet, or didn't have it greenlit basically, so I turned it on and I was getting a couple of for like a half a day I was doing regular Lyft rides, and I was scared that I'm gonna have to do these to some sort of like to hit some sort of a threshold, because I was getting, I would basically say, like a regular crowd, people who were super surprised seeing that what kind of car pulled up. So one lady was so surprised, the older lady, and she gave me $1 tip. That was very sweet. But you can see, so if we're gonna go, we look to the right, I had some birthday girl that gave me $30 tip, $40. I remember one of my first pickups from or to an airport. There's a guy from Chicago. We chatted, so that was from Lyft, and he gave me an additional tip. Or actually, that might have been that $80 direct order, and then he gave me extra $40. Then the next day, you can see tips. Cruise guy, we're looking at the right because we're going kind of backwards. Sunday, March 1st, I made $181, and I knew also that kind of like I need to make like a $300 a day threshold to pay for the car weekly, and also for like my apartment. That was like my main two expenses that I wanted to know. So I kind of knew that I need to make at least $300 a day, which a couple of first days I didn't, even though actually if we look at February 28th, I did, right? So I had a Lyft 200 plus 80 plus 40 plus 30. So not a bad start. And boom, Sunday, 571 a day, and I was like, oh man, this is not bad. I'm liking this. And to be honest, I right from the get-go, the first few days, first week, I started liking this job or business, if you will. But you as a single owner operator, you're kind of doing a job working for yourself. So let's just call it a job. But it's a job that's more fun and cool than I even expected. So March 2nd, we can see, gas expenses. Those are usually right at the top. Direct order. I had a guy from New Orleans, hotel pickup. I even remember because he just texted me recently already saying that he's going to be in town soon. $20. So I picked up a couple. All white party, I remember that because there was more people than I think I should have had in my truck. They all jumped in. It was nice people. I was like, damn, that's a lot of you. And they said, well, it's okay, we'll tip you. So then if we go to Wednesday, March 4th, you see Eli. There was a local guy who was going to the gym a couple of times, who ordered me. So that's why you see also on March 5th. And March 5th, look at that, $842. And what made that? The biggest chunk of that was direct order. They were going to a basketball game. I was waiting. So over the week one, right, I realized, wow, I need to get more of these hourly jobs that pay for most of the time. You are just waiting. You're waiting, and that's pretty cool. And just people want the reliability of somebody who's going to be there when they need to come out and wherever they spontaneously might want to go. Week two, it was still apps, but starting to see opportunities, better rides, better areas, airport runs. So this is how the second week, you see Biz week two came about or came together. Lyft, $86. We're looking to the right. Another direct order. What else we got? A couple from Moscow. I remember by my house. These guys just flew in. They were trying to go to the mall and they didn't have an Uber app. You'll have those sometimes. People just don't have the app. They're foreign and you can help them out. Take them. That was literally over the bridge from my house. So that's only $25. Couple to New York, couple to Miami airport. Latin soccer fans, I still remember that. I parked. So on Lyft, you're gonna see if you work Lyft, it's gonna give you suggestions like, oh, there's a game or a concert that 10,000 people are attending, and you can just park nearby. I did at a nearby gas station. Like 6 guys came up. They needed to go just like 10 minutes from the location over the bridge. I told them $40. I actually should have charged more at the time now that I think about it. But hey, nevertheless, they enjoyed the car, $40. What else? So then we see, okay, so French DJ. What do we have? Direct order 360 biz 2. Let's dive into the next week. Week 3 is where things started to shift. Private bookings started coming in, referrals. And let's look at that. Okay, biz week 3. I have 4 screenshots here, so look at that. March 13, $500. Where is the actual? Oh, it's 360 lift. Okay, makes sense. Then Saturday, because sometimes lately I've been getting a little sloppy, just so busy. And a couple of times, if I don't write down the info, then 2 days later I forget. Of course, mainly I need to do that also to make sure everyone's paid me. But to calculate my expenses and my income, I want to do that. Luckily, I've documented all this for you. You see, March 14th. I'm not going to drag it out too long. Next one is going to be week 4, and that's it. So you see, Zell. I had somebody from Miami Airport. Baseball. It's $160. Driving some pilot. What else we got to the left? You see mother and daughter trips. Drove them to Carbone. They said, oh, could you pick me up? That was interesting. I was actually kind of like doing a double job because I had an hourly, which made this $675, and that was in Fontaine. That's in Miami. A cool hotel. And the mother and daughter were at Carbone finishing their dinner at midnight, and I was able to drive them back and then pick up some people from the same hotel. So pretty cool. And this is what makes pretty much up the week 3 of my business. There's some Latvian. If you don't understand what's written there, it says altogether 425. What else? Cactus Guy. I was taking a couple to a cactus lounge, which was mentioned by Drake in a song. So it's popular. People wanted to go there. Private, you see 375. It was a rabbi. I took a rabbi from a private airport to Trump Doral. And when we arrived there, it was a bunch of grown men. It was a Jewish wedding. They were kissing this rabbi's hand as he was getting out of Escalade. Just like people were all over the car. Interesting, it's just these are the kind of clients, environments you end up with. You never know who you're going to have. So week 4 is where it really, really clicked. Hourly jobs, repeat private clients, higher level environments, okay? And this is how basically week 4 unfolded. Let's go from the back. So you're going to see, okay, $100 smoking fee. So some clients, like to do some specific things in the car, and they might request it ahead of time or when you have them, and they're listening to music and they like to chill, so they ask if they can smoke some herb, and it's up to you to decide if you want to take those jobs or not. I'm going to make a video. You might already find it on my Instagram or YouTube, on YouTube, about a machine that helps you clean out the car. You turn it on, you full blast AC, and in about 30-45 minutes it cleans out any smoke, sort of like smell residue, if you might have it. So that was my first time. I accepted. So basically, look, I made $450 for 6 hours at 75, and now I'm charging more. By default, it's $100 an hour. If it's affiliates, then 80 down to 75. If it's several hours, but you can easily make 1 to 2 hours worth of, fee of your driving fee, if you will, by charging a smoking fee if you're cool with it. So here I charge 100 bucks. I usually charge 150 now, just because the time it takes me, and I don't want to be like, oh, not compensated for that. So 150 bucks. I know that within an hour my car is not smelling like smoke anymore once I finish the job. Sometimes airing it out helps when you drive, but depending on what the the substance that they smoke is rolled in, depending on paper, is how much it might smell. So what else? March 21st, we had guys from Birmingham. Those are the ones that paid me a lot of cash that week. Let's see, and going to the left, Olivia, Darius, guys from Birmingham. Okay, on the first screenshot to the left, you see Harold. It was a guy was taken around. He was scouting a house for his son who got drafted into NFL. And what else? And that's about it. Okay, so $1,200 day, $1,065 day, 560, 555, 556 total, 325, 360. So you see how the majority of these sort of like chunky, productive, chunky cash filled days are made. They're mostly with these private jobs. Okay, see, this is at Trump Doral, the Jewish wedding where I took the rabbi to, and this is the part that most people don't understand. You're not getting paid per ride anymore. You're getting paid to be there. Okay, you're getting paid to wait. You're getting paid to be available, and that pays more than the driving, because it's the same rate. You're saving gas. Only if the car is turned on, if it's hot, you need to be inside or chill or sleep. AC is all you spend the gas on. So you have free time as well. You could just rest or work on your own stuff remotely, which I do. I manage some stocks and crypto stuff. So it works for me. I love it. So by the end of that first month, I crossed just over $15,000. And of course, there are expenses. So I was renting the vehicle that I found for $1,250. You may pay one half of that if you already own the truck, or if you decide after watching this, let's say, to jump into it and you have good credit. Guys on average pay, like for an Escalade, let's say, about $2,500, $2,700 a month. And you might say, well, oh my God, you're paying $5,000 in rent. But yeah, I wanted to crack the code. I wanted to make sure I like this business, that it's viable, doable, and hence I'm making this case study to show you guys it's all worth it. So even if 15 or so K minus the 5K that I spend in renting the truck to crack the business, I'm not taking any liability of any breakdowns, or if I was to change my mind, I could just return the vehicle and that's it. But as I said, that $1,250 a week, it's actually a decent, good price here in Miami. Where you are, you might get a deal less. All I had to put up was a $750 deposit. If you didn't have it, or if it's tough, you could borrow that because you're going to get that back. So it's all doable. So what I'm showing you is I did not have a vehicle, okay? I just found somebody, and there it is. I jumped right into it to see how this business works and how I can crack the code. So, but even after everything, it was still a strong month. And look, first month, 15K minus 5K minus gas. Man, it's more than the marketing director jobs that I was getting some years ago in 2018, 19, even 22, when I wanted to take them. And I like this, the flexibility. More importantly, I now had something that most drivers never build, and that is momentum, which is, I wish that you can get if you jump into this. But you might be thinking, well, I don't live in Miami, I don't have a car, I don't have clients. I didn't have any of that either. This works anywhere where money moves. It might be LA, New York, Tennessee, somewhere in Texas, Austin. There's a lot of locations, and maybe, see, I could have gone into this, and I know people still do, and those who went into Miami market thinking it's saturated, and yeah, it is. But if you go with that kind of mindset, a lot of the stuff here happens because if you do a good job like I have and build a good reputation, you start getting referred, people notice you, but a lot of it is some sort of a luck, like, hey, a job came up. Either it's a good drive on Lyft, or if it's a referral or something else. It's really, really the mindset. And hey, I jumped into a very saturated market. So if you're thinking that you have a saturated market, get that out of your head. Or maybe you're thinking, oh, well, my market is small. That maybe it's just a city of 750,000 people. But that might be your advantage. Maybe others are thinking that. And maybe there isn't a lot of competition like these bigger markets have. So keep it positive. Keep your mind open. If you really want to do this, this is a really cool job. And it works anywhere where clients want this kind of a level of service. And it doesn't require a fleet. It requires understanding how to position yourself correctly from the start. Now, everything I just showed you, that's what I did. But the part that actually matters is how, of course. How I got access to better paying rides, how I started getting private clients fast, how I got plugged into the opportunities. Because if you don't get that part right, you just end up back on the apps. So that's why I built this. It's a course and community, Black Truck System by Onyx Elite, my company, and you basically can learn how to start a wildly profitable six-figure luxury SUV service business and get your first high-value client in 30 days, okay? Or how you can basically stop being dependent on the apps in 30 days. Let's break it down. What's inside the training? And that is why I got into this business and why now is a good window still. How to choose the right vehicle so you don't regret it later. You might be thinking, oh, Escalade, maybe Suburban, maybe something else, maybe Escalade electric. So renting versus buying, what actually makes sense and what would make sense for you. Permits, very important. What you need, what you don't, what's optional, and how to get them fast. Then how Uber and Lyft actually work and why they cap you, and how to make the most out of the rideshare apps. Better booking platforms that most people don't know about. So I'm going to teach you airport game, curbside pickup versus meet and greet, and what differences are and how you should behave and what you should do. Private airport etiquette, chauffeur etiquette, and this really matters more than people think because your etiquette plus your personality is going to matter a lot. Police escorted rides and how to handle those and how to prepare, how to set up your vehicle properly. Small details can make up for big tips. And also have too much stuff in the car that's just I've seen a coffee machine in a Lyft truck, like a legit coffee machine in the middle. It just looked so tacky, even though it was a good coffee machine. Anyway, so how to start getting private ride offers fast, which many of you probably, if you're watching it so far until up to this moment, are wondering how brokers and driver networks actually work and how not to step on anyone's foot. Because as big as the market might be, it's not as big. Everyone talks, and everyone, like right now after F1 week, some people didn't get paid by some even reputable companies, and they start mentioning it in the chat, and there's some drama. So the network that you tap into, it's important to do a good job, keep your word, and not to step on anyone's foot, and build a good reputation. So I'll teach you that, how to get private clients, because that's the real money. Private clients and the hourly jobs, which may come also not from a private client, somebody who's not your private client, but somebody that gives you that hourly job, and you make more waiting than driving. Most of the time, let's say a 6-hour job, take people to a club or two and drive 45 to 60 minutes out of the 6 hours, okay? And beyond the course, there's the community where you can ask questions, get feedback, see what's working right now. You get weekly live Q&A calls that will also be recorded in case you can't make it on the live call. Interviews with people already in this space. Some of them are landing serious opportunities, such as landing like a 6-figure a year contract with a CEO or with an athlete. So to tie it all up, and by the way, those are my wife's shoes and legs, and that's her in the picture. You can try to figure this out on your own, of course, piece together random advice, and lose time and money, or at best idle at mercy of the ride-sharing apps, as many still do, even here in Miami. And they ask, well, how long you've been doing that? And I tell them how my first month went, and now, a second month as well, and getting into third. And a lot of them are surprised because they're not doing even half as good. So if you want to figure it out on your own, it might be a much longer learning curve. I was lucky to jump into it, figure it out, meet a couple of really great contacts that also showed me the ropes and gave me a lot of tips about the game. So I will just give you all of that. So you can do it on your own, or you can shortcut it and step into something that's already working. It isn't about driving, okay, which some other courses out there teach. It's really about access to a proven system with high paying transfers, VIP clients, hourly jobs, and a job referral network. Okay, that's golden. Wherever in US you might be, this is gonna be really, really valuable for you and save you a lot of time and money, or unmade money, and just idling days, making a couple of $100 at best. And if you try to, I've actually tried to do this, guys. So like ChatGPT, it's only gonna give you vanilla answers based on random info online from Reddit, possibly posted by bitter drivers or ones still working the rideshare apps. I've gone to Reddit also, and that's where some of those answers might, come from. And it's just so much info out there, and it's really different. It's a different experience for each driver, chauffeur, or somebody who's already have several cars, because it's really about doing things right. And if you want to jump into this and do things right, then I'd love to see you here. So personally, I love how there's money flowing in daily. The first, you saw the breakdown of the first few weeks, week 2, week 3, man, I had Zelle. Oh, do you have Apple Cash? Of course I have Apple Cash. Boom, Apple Cash. Oh, Venmo. Okay, I set up a new Venmo, a business Venmo, nice and clean with some pictures that I'm using here now for this slide. I had a Venmo set up, cash. So you are just ready to accept money. And also you're putting it out in the universe. Hey, I am ready. I'm ready for business. I'm ready for clients. I'm ready to accept money in all forms. And man, it was flowing. Okay. Also, this business is, I believe, recession proof and AI robocar proof. Why? Here in Miami, just like in San Francisco and other areas, we're getting a lot of those Waymo cars, the Jaguar, that's basically a Google car, right? And sure, that's going to cut into Uber X market. And I even know that they've been sort of like training the SUVs to be driven by, like a robocar. But listen, I can tell you one thing. I've talked to clients, and the clients who get not Uber Black and Lyft Black SUV, but the clients that get you and request you directly and who want this type of service are not going to jump into a robocar. They want the driver. They want somebody who knows town. They want somebody who can tell them where this thing is, or where they can buy something, or if that restaurant or club is good. And we are, for the most part, I believe, safe for many years to come. As far as like AI and robocars not cutting into this black truck, black SUV business, okay? And why I think it's recession proof, here's my angle. Because if we get like another pandemic or we get a recession, the people who have money will still have money. They tend to either make more money, let's say take opportunities in the stock market or buying real estate, or they just will try their best to preserve money during these difficult times. and they might, let go one of their 2 or 3 cars and take more private rides. Okay, and I believe that these reasons are working in our favor. So we're almost done. Right now, I want to tell you we're letting in a small group of founding operators at a locked-in entry price while we build out the system in real time and shoot the course. So if you decide now to jump into it, you're going to see it right away. You're going to be able to dive into it right away and also get some feedback and ask for some feedback. And once we move into full public rollout, the pricing will reflect the complete system and demand. So what you see below when you click the button is the price. Okay, and once you dive in, here's a little glimpse how it's going to look. This is the about page. Then once you dive in into the Black Truck system, you're going to learn how to start with one truck and get high paying private clients fast. And that's what it's about. It's not about teaching you how to drive, but everything else I mentioned, of course, is very important, and the permits and the system itself. But of course, how to get the clients, how to treat them, how to have them come back is very important. Then you're going to see this post, welcome to the Black Truck business community. Under that post, you will hopefully comment with your city and your car, and we just want to see where everyone is coming from, so we can kind of have like a tight community all across the states. And in the calendar section, you will see the scheduled live Q&A calls, which will later be recorded and posted in the classroom section. But right now, you see on a Monday, 12 p.m., we have a Q&A call. For now, it's going to be that time. It might change later. But that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I want to say, jump in. If you want to be in this business, it's fun. You make a lot of great connections. If you like driving, if you enjoy being around new people, if you like to make new connections, which can help you in whatever other venture you have. You might be selling luxury watches. Boom, you're getting great clients who might see a watch on your hand and ask you like, oh, are you into watches too? And I bought this AP or Rolex and I'm looking for this and that. And you're like, you know what? I actually do that on the side as well and sell them a watch. There's so many crisscross opportunities. Or private clients, they might also, if they're in town, let's say in Miami, they need a boat for a party. They might need a private jet to go back to New York. You hook them up. You make a couple of thousand extra just from referring them to somebody else who does that. Man, this is a great, great business. It's not dead. Most of it, all the good, juicy, good stuff hides behind the apps. And I would like to unveil what's behind the curtain to you. So you've heard, exactly what I did. I've shown you, broken down the first month. And if you want the how, listen, most likely you'll get your investment back in 1 to 2 days doing an hourly job. Like you saw the breakdowns of my $1,000 days. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. You will not regret this. Jump in, comment below the first post, and I'll see you there. Black Truck Mick on my YouTube if you want to see any extra videos. But I think let's not get distracted. Jump in, and I will see you soon. Bye.